welcome to this short video where we're going to be talking about some of the best ways to onboard your clients. Now, one of the things we tend to see over at PTD Ninja when we're helping trainers set up their business online using PT Distinction, the first thing they tend to see is all the content they want to send over. So they send through loads of videos, loads of welcome documents that might be like even 20, 30 pages long of a welcome PDF. There'll be 3 or 4 different forms they want to complete. In fact, the whole process, when we actually went through it sometimes, a client will be spending over an hour onboarding themselves. That's over an hour onboarding themselves when they first sign up to these programs. And one of the things that we tend to find over at PT Ninja is we look at the data. We look at the adherence levels of the clients, of the trainers that we work with. We look at what works really well and what doesn't necessarily work too well. And we've seen that basically one of the worst things you can do when first onboarding a client is to give them too much to actually do. So if you was to give them a big long welcome pack PDF and ask them to go and read it, then complete 3 or 4 forms, the chances are they're probably not going to read it. And 2 things will come from that. The first thing is that because you're giving them too much information too quickly, they're not going to read it, not going to know what to do, and they start asking you lots and lots of questions. So it's like, how do I do this? What shall I do about that? What shall I do about this? And either what happens is you end up saying, okay, go and read your form that was inside your welcome document, or you end up answering the question anyway. So it's taking up lots of your time. It's not a very efficient way of doing things. The other thing is, well, there's lots of different forms that people want to complete. If you put too much information on when they first sign up, let's say someone makes that purchase, they go and log in, they go, oh, I've got to do this, and this. When they actually get into the app, like, okay, I'll come back to that later. And we all know what happens when we say we'll come back to it later. Nothing really happens from there. And adherence tends to drop. You've also got higher chance of people actually having buyer's remorse because they think, actually, this is too much for me to do. And especially when you look at the majority of clients that personal trainers tend to work with online. Like if you're working with athletes, it's a little bit different. If you're in specialist type of clients, that also can be a little bit different. But for the majority of people, what we're trying to do is help them generally lose weight, feel better, and just have a better overall health and life in general. And one of the reasons that the majority of these people don't tend to have those things in the first place is that they feel they lack a certain amount of time and there's too much effort, it's too much to do. And if the first thing you're going to do is when you sign up a client is give them all these things to do, they're going to go, oh crap, like I can't do this. No wonder this is too difficult. And you already sent them off on the bad foot. So what I want to do in this video here is just show you a very simple way of actually starting off clients. We're going to use PTD to do this. I'm actually going to show you inside a welcome group that we actually provide you inside the PTD Ninja 101 course, how we set it up, why we set it up in this way, and how we actually use this particular group. So before I actually get onto that, if you're watching this and you've maybe not done the 101 course, or maybe you're watching this, you're not quite sure what groups are inside PTD, what you need to understand is groups are just a way of delivering content to your clients. And you can have welcome groups, results tracking groups, and all those kind of different things. And one of the techniques we tend to use over at PTD Ninja is group stacking. So it means we can have a welcome group to onboard clients. We can have a results tracking group to track their progress over any given number of programs. And then we start having content groups that deliver things such as workouts, nutritional programs, and things like that. And we use this welcome group in order to onboard a client when they first sign up. And the aim is to try and keep it as simple as possible. And we actually do this over a number of different days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the search here inside PTD, and I'm going to go and type in our welcome group up here. So let's go and open up our welcome group. There we go. So inside here, you can see we're inside our welcome group. It's going to be my head out of the way a little bit here. And we've got the schedule and we have the setup. I want to go over to the schedule first. So in the schedule, we've set things up by days after joining. This is just so we can use this for multiple clients. It doesn't matter when they actually sign up by using days after joining. And you'll notice here we have something on day 2, something on day 3, nothing on the rest of the days, and nothing actually on day 0. And that's because over in on joining, we actually have a document here on day 0. So you might think, well, actually, that's not a lot, Ash. That's 3 different things over the space of 4 days, 1 document on here. What about the forms? What about tracking? What about everything else you need to do? Well, let me explain why we've done it this way. When a client logs in for the first time, you don't want to give them lots and lots of things to do. You want to keep it as simple as possible. And you want to do 2 main things. Keep it simple and keep it clear. So you need absolute clarity about what is going to happen when somebody actually signs up for the first time. And the best way to do that is to actually use one particular document that's quick and easy to go through and get straight to the point about what they actually need to do. Does that mean you don't want to get them to complete forms and questionnaires? No, we are actually going to get them to complete forms and questionnaires when they first log in. But we're talking here more about the psychology, about how people think when they log into things. So if we keep this simple, we can actually use this document here to guide our client around the app. So let's actually look at that particular document. So I'm going to go over to setup and go into coaching. And inside here, you can see we have this welcome document. So I'm going to go in and go and view this particular document inside here. So first of all, you can see up here at the top, I'm just going to pause that. We have congratulations, welcome them into it, and a little video giving them a tour of the actual software. So this is going to very quickly show them what we actually want them to do. So a quick run around. This is what the login area looks like. This is what the app looks like. This is what we're going to do when we first start up. Not in too much detail, just this is what we're going to do first. That's the first thing. We're not going to tell them everything in one go because they don't need to know everything in one go yet. They just need to know the basics on how to get started. Then we actually break it down here. So I've decided to use an image in this one with some little key points showing them where to go inside the app. So again, it's super clear. So even if they haven't got time to watch that particular video, they can scan through this next section and go, okay, this is what I need to do. This is where I need to go. Adding that clarity, keeping it nice and simple. And you can see what we're actually doing here is asking them to go to their logbook and go and complete their important safety forms. And we're giving them a little image about how to actually do that as well. The advantage of this is instead of actually scheduling them is when they log in, they see one thing they need to do. They're more likely to go and do it straight away as opposed to 3, 4, 5 different things that are on their schedule for them that you ask them to do. We're also asking them to navigate through their app and through their members area. So already what we're starting to do is set precedent. We get them used to the idea that they can navigate around the app on their own. They don't just have to rely on things from the schedule. They can go to different places inside the app. So we're guiding them through. It also gets them used to using the app. So they know, okay, in the logbook, I can see I've got food diary, progress photos, results tracking, meal adherence forms, whatever I need to put in there, they can see it inside there. They're starting to get used to how this infrastructure is going to work. Like I say, you're setting that precedent in the first place to go, okay, I don't need to rely on them telling me every single thing to do. I can take a little bit of responsibility and go and do this myself over here. So you're starting to get all that kind of setup for them. Then what we do is we talk about what's going to happen the next day. Results tracking are going to come on next day. As I mentioned earlier, we actually use a different results tracking group. We do have a number of reasons why we do this inside the PTD Ninja 101 course. I'm not going into those reasons now, but basically in a nutshell, it gives you a lot more flexibility and allows you to maintain results tracking data across multiple programs. But we can talk about that another time. But we have a different group when that results tracking will start tomorrow. But again, we're telling them to check back in the morning, adding that clarity there, then to go and do their results tracking. So we're adding that clarity so they know what to do today, what they're going to do next, and what to expect next. Once we've done that, we have a quick overview of where to find things, and then we ask them to go and join, in this case, our Facebook group, and they can link through and go through to it. So the idea is in that the first day, they're going to go through the schedule. They're going to go and be onboarded. They're going to get their results tracking and stuff the next day with some information about how to actually complete that. And then on day 2, we'll actually talk about goals and ambitions. We've set up an in-app message to come out as well alongside this. We just ask them to go and write down their goals and ambitions on that day. So instead of actually giving them all this information in one go on the first day, we're actually turning this in from an onboarding day into a bit of an onboarding week. So even though they can get them to start doing things inside the app, we actually want to start getting them to slowly give us information as to go through. So it's not too much for them to do. They can take the time to actually think about it. Because I guarantee you, if you start asking them to do, put all their details in, complete the car queue, informed consent, lifestyle questionnaire, and do a goals and ambitions form all in one day, they're going to start rushing through things and miss things. So we want to really give them time to complete this, especially this one here, because this is a very, very important thing that I'd highly recommend you put into any of your onboarding groups that you set up. Goals and ambitions really allow you to get a good understanding of what's going on for your client. Now, you may have had this conversation with them already, but getting them to recap it in a document such as this is going to make it so much easier for your client and for you. Because let's say they get to week 3, which is a time that we tend to notice adherence drops on programs, especially if you have more automated programs. This becomes very useful because you can refer back to this for the client and it helps put them back on track again. Once we've done that and they've got their goals and ambitions in, they're all driven to go forward, we look at managing their expectations. So we can now, the following day, after they've had time to absorb what they've been talking about here, start talking about what's going on in terms of their expectations of the program, how to set realistic goals based on what they've done, what they can actually expect, and what's going to happen over the next, in this case, a 12-week program that we put together. So again, adding that clarity in there. And that's the kind of thing I'd be looking at putting inside your welcome group. So recap again. One onboarding document. Yes, still have your forms inside here if you want to, but have these forms set up so they can go through and have a look at them. Again, making sure you have that welcome email as well inside the message. I didn't mention this at the start, but inside here you can see there's that IM that I talked about for the goal setting. We also have this welcome email inside here, giving them all their details through, with a link through to that video as well that we've already linked into the app. So it keeps it nice and clear and simple about what they need to do. Anyway, I hope that helps in terms of giving you some ideas about how to onboard a client inside PTD. If you've got any questions whatsoever, please do let us know. And if you like some help setting this up, or like this kind of content and all the other content we have over at PTD Ninja, and just want to learn how to master PT Distinction as a whole, come and check out ptninja.com and check out the 101 course. We have some really cool stuff inside there to really help you master your online personal training business with PT Distinction. Anyway, I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.